Hey everybody, my name is Kenny Jones. I am a transgender model and activist, and today I've teamed up with Intimology Institute to make this video about all things masturbation. I think they're a great company. They are a school all about sexual wellness and basically promote the message that you should have a good sex life, and that's one I can get behind. They offer great resources on their website, so while you're there, subscribe and stay updated to what they're up to. Also, support them on social media, so give them a follow, a share, and a like. And when this video is done and you have questions, feel free to DM them and they will get back to you. Other than that, I really hope you enjoy this video. Let's get rolling with the questions. So, first question. Dysphoria. What is it and how do you stop yourself from feeling it when masturbating? Well, dysphoria is basically like having a strong dislike towards your body. How to stop yourself from feeling it? Well, it's a very difficult one because I feel like it's going to be a learning curve. You have to learn what things feel comfortable and what feels uncomfortable for you, and then stay away from things that feel uncomfortable. I don't think there's any one right way to masturbate, but I just think that as long as it's pleasurable, that's what you should be focused on. Don't necessarily worry about the movement of it or anything else like that. Just worry about how it makes you feel. And if it makes you feel good, then stay doing it. So let's move on to question 2. How can I support my partner? Well, this is a really simple concept, but don't undermine it. It's literally just conversation. I think that if you are in consistent communication with your partner and you understand their likes and dislikes, that's the best thing that you can do as a partner, because you're doing things to make sure that they're not dysphoric. You're understanding and taking into consideration their feelings. And that ultimately, in my eyes, is what a good partner does. So don't undermine it. Have a conversation. After sex, just turn around and be like, did you like this? Did you dislike that? And then you can both create something that really works, or partners. So then you can all create something that works really well. Question 3. How is masturbation different for you now? Did you masturbate before transitioning? I did masturbate before transitioning, and I definitely still do now. How did it change? Well, my body changed a little. So being on T, you grow what I like to call a mini penis, which is basically an enlarging clitoris. So the kind of technique in which I used to masturbate has kind of shifted throughout my body changing. But other than that, I don't think there's much. Like, I think I enjoy sex a lot more, masturbating a lot more, because I'm a lot more comfortable with my body. But ultimately, that's all that's changed. It's not a lot. I feel like it's always the smallest things in life that makes the biggest difference. So being on testosterone, growing my mini penis, becoming more comfortable with myself, ultimately what made my masturbation different. Question 4. So, what are the effects of testosterone on your private parts? Does it feel different, and have your orgasms changed? So, like I said in the previous question, I grew a mini penis. That's what happened. That's the effects of testosterone on private parts. It's a great time. I haven't given him a nickname, but I absolutely love it. And in terms of how does it feel, or have my orgasms changed? Yeah, do you know what they have? They are a lot more intense than they were pre-T. I don't really know why that's happened. It's just, it feels like when I come now, it just feels like a lot more of my energy is taken away. I also feel like that's a lot to do with like a mental aspect as well, not just the physical. But yeah, so that's kind of how it's changed, really. Question 5. How do you connect with yourself when your hormones are changing? It's a very difficult one. Sometimes what happens basically is that your testosterone shot is due, and so your hormones are low, so then your moods tend to change. And I personally tend to feel quite low. And the way in which I try to connect with myself for the most part is through exercise, because that's something that I just feel like, I don't know, just makes me feel alive, you know, it makes me feel great. And if exercise doesn't work for me, then honestly, I just allow myself to feel how I feel. I think the worst thing that you can kind of do is force this kind of positive aspect or attitude on things when it's just not how you feel. Just let it happen, you know, and just remind yourself that this moment will come and it will pass. And that's kind of how I deal with my hormones changing. I just, whatever will be, will be. Question 6. How do you masturbate in a way that affirms your masculinity? This is a tough question. And I don't really have the one-size-fits-all solution. I just have things that I know that work for me. So, first of all, whenever I self-masturbate, I've never seen my masturbation as being either feminine or masculine. It was just I'm masturbating and I'm enjoying what's happening to my body. But I think ways in which the problem started to occur where I wanted to masturbate in a way that affirmed my masculinity when I started to masturbate in front of other people because I was fearful of their judgment of my body, which I think is a very common thing for trans guys. And I think the best way that I kind of affirmed my masculinity was through positions. So using very dominant positions. For instance, if I'm standing up and this person is on their knees and I'm masturbating in that sense, that made me feel very dominant, which affirmed my masculinity. If you're self-masturbating and you have been on T, using things like a bro sleeve is a great way to affirm your masculinity as well. Honestly, I just feel like it just comes down to whatever works for you. Those are just some tips and things that I've done and I try. But, you know, it could be your partner's attitude to you masturbating. It could be anything. And so just explore different things. See what works for you. Stick with it. And the final question number 7 is masturbation / sex tips for pre/post-op trans people. I have one tip, honestly, and that's find what works for you. I think that there is going to be a lot of different ways in which a lot of different people will feel pleasurable. It also depends on how your surgery has gone. If you're post-op, if you're pre-op, you might have a lot of dysphoria around your body. So ultimately, it's about finding out what works for you. But experiment with different things. Don't be scared to do that. I think I lost out on a lot of my sex life because I was fearful of judgment of others, of using toys and judging myself. Just adventure, like really adventure, get to know your body, get to know what works for your body, preferably within your own space first with just you, and then experiment with other people. But yeah, that's my best advice. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for listening. And if you have any questions, as I said in the beginning of the talk or the video, message.